Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Family Sedan channel. Forbes has taken down from its website an article titled Why SEC Treats Ripple and Ethereum Differently. That's curious. This was authored by Rosalind Layton. She's been covering the SEC v. Ripple case for over 2 years at this point, and I've covered every single article that she's ever written, and she just knocks it out of the park. And she has no financial interest in Ripple or XRP. She doesn't even own any cryptocurrencies, apparently. But she's pushing back against the SEC because what they're doing is disgusting as wrong, and she's been consistently calling them out. So now this latest article, which went up last night, has been taken down very promptly by Forbes. Why might that be? Well, we don't have an official answer to this point, but there's some curious timing. Literally yesterday, I published a video where I was talking about an intervention in the SEC v. Ripple case. And in case any of you missed it, it turns out that Rosalind Layton, the author of the article, Forbes article that's been taken down, she filed to intervene in the SEC v. Ripple case. She wrote, well, the attorney wrote on her behalf to Judge Torres. And basically what she's pushing for is for the Bill Hinman Ethereum free pass speech emails and drafts, all of that information to be made publicly available. And she articulated the reasons why, and I think she absolutely nailed that as well. So that happened yesterday. The Forbes article also went up yesterday, same day, but then hours later, the article was taken down. So look, all I can say is this. It was done intentionally. Whatever the reason, I don't know. Is it nefarious? Is it not nefarious? I can't say. But you know what this is? It's having the same net effect regardless of the result. It's decreasing the knowledge of what's going on in the SEC v. Ripple case. So it's preventing the truth from being heard. That's the problem. I just, having gone through the article, I cannot see at all why this would have been taken down. I do not get it. And here you can see for yourself. This is the official Forbes website. This is the article. It says, this page is no longer active. We regret any inconvenience. Oh, do you? Do you regret any inconvenience? You thought the XRP community wasn't going to notice this? So it turns out that we've got screen grabs of the article from XRP community members that have been circulating. I shared them as well. So I'm going to go ahead and spread the word about the article anyway. It's been taken down. You know what? I'm going to run through it because I have it. You can't stop. You ain't going to stop the XRP community. You got your damn mind. But before going further, I do want to be clear. I do not have a legal or financial background of any kind. I'm not offering legal or financial advice. And you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. And so here you can see last night at 6:37 p.m. Central Standard Time, my time zone, John Deaton's crypto law organization shared this Forbes article and wrote, after petitioning to unseal the Hinman docs, Rosalind Layton writes in Forbes, regulators aren't supposed to choose the market's winners and losers, yet it's hard to ignore how securities laws are applied differently to Ethereum compared to Ripple. End quote. And so, and there was just literally, 2 or 3 hours later, the article's gone after Crypto Law shared it. Here was my fellow XRP YouTuber, Crypto Eddie, breaking this. This is the first place that I saw this news anyways from Crypto Eddie. She wrote, it happened again. Just after we have an intervention by Dr. Rosalind Layton, a Forbes article titled Why the SEC Treats Ripple and Ethereum Differently was removed in the last hour. This is turning into a real dogfight. And that was at 8:46 p.m. last night. So that was quick. It was not live on the website for long. What is the purpose of this? I don't get it, but this is the second time that an article was taken down. If memory serves, after it happened the last time, though, there was some change made to it, and then it was reposted. Might have been with a different title. I can't recall off the top of my head. But this is the second time we've seen something like this. This one's just more obvious and abrupt. Let's just say that. And so Attorney John Deaton shared that too. He retweeted Crypto Eddie and said W2H, meaning what the hell, of course. Good question. And then attorney Bill Morgan, member of the XRP community, wrote, hope someone made a hard copy and circulates the S word out of it. And that is the case. Shout out and credit to XRP community member King Blue for sharing screen grabs of this thing. So I went ahead and actually I did retweet this and gave him credit already. Well, by retweeting I gave him credit, but also wanted to give a shout out and credit to him now in this video because I very much appreciate this. And so he shared this last night after this all went down. So let's go ahead and dig in and I'll show you what Forbes doesn't want you to see. How about that? So again, it's titled, Why the SEC Treats Ripple and Ethereum Differently. Regulators aren't supposed to choose the market's winners and losers, yet it's hard to ignore how securities laws are applied differently to the Ethereum Foundation compared to companies like Ripple. As the Securities and Exchange Commission case against Ripple Labs winds down after more than 2 years of public scrutiny, a judge in the Southern District of New York contemplates whether judges will unseal the Hinman speech documents. The documents refer to a 2018 speech by then SEC Director of Corporate Finance William Hinman, which, absent explicit regulatory guidance, constitutes the best public instruction for crypto stakeholders to avoid an enforcement action. The speech seems inscrutable. It declared one crypto asset, Ethereum's native token Ether, as outside the securities laws. Subsequently, the SEC launched the case against a similar project to Ethereum, Ripple, seeking billions in penalties for a virtually identical offering that reasonably appeared to fit Hinman's criteria for Ether. As a regulatory scholar, I am concerned about the inconsistency. Let's pause and note, her lawyer wrote something similar in the intervention document that I was citing a few minutes ago to Judge Torres. And my critique there is that there's a very fundamental difference, actually, so I just respectfully disagree on this particular point, is that there was an ETH ICO, there was no XRP ICO. So that part is different. That matters. Other than that, though, let's just continue on. A conflict of interest explanation suggests that Hinman had a financial stake in an entity promoting Ether over competing coins like XRP. Separately, the government watchdog organization Empower Oversight sued the SEC to obtain materials that show Hinman received millions of dollars in retirement payments from his former law firm Simpson Thacher and Bartlett, STB for short, and that STB joined an alliance devoted to the exclusive promotion of Ethereum, and even that SEC warned Hinman about the appearance of such conflicts. In any event, unsealing the speech documents could clarify whether Ethereum's proponents influenced Hinman's speech. While Hinman himself starts the speech by saying that it only reflects his view, not the SEC's, the unsealing could show whether SEC officials had a view on the matter. Typically, such speeches are approved by agency counsel before going public. Such findings could strengthen the defense's claim that the SEC failed to provide fair notice. If the SEC itself was confused or ambivalent about crypto policy, it follows that innovators and investors could be as well. The case serves as an important referendum on regulation by enforcement, as defined by Carol R. Goforth in Regulation by Enforcement: Problems with the SEC's Approach to Crypto Asset Regulation. At issue are critical legal questions of whether the pursuit of enforcements against innovative technologies for lack of compliance and other purported harms are legitimate use of taxpayer resources versus a forthright delineation of policy by the SEC, if not Congress. To seal or unseal is a common debate in federal regulatory litigation. Former General Counsel banking regulator Thomas Vartanian explains, while transparency protects a free flow of information in the agency process, courts will often be asked to decide if the privilege is being overused. Courts may examine the evidence at issue in camera, that means in person, so that it only is seen by a judge who can then determine the legitimate boundaries of the protection with specific knowledge of the information in question. The SEC's counsel moved to seal the documents reflect internal discussions and deliberations by numerous SEC officials, which should remain confidential. SEC officials repeatedly expressed their views and positions on issues of programmatic significance to the SEC. The ability of agency officials to debate and collaborate with openness and candor would be hampered by the public dissemination of these documents, the motion to the court said. Indeed, the SEC's website lists Freedom of Information Act notably for national security, trade secrets, and personnel issues. The court already determined that the Hinman speech documents are not subject to the deliberative process or attorney-client privilege. It may be a high legal hurdle for the SEC to claim that the Hinman speech was sufficient regulatory guidance and then refuse to make public the backup of the speech. The notion that a regulatory agency could favor one actor at the firm or the industry's request demonstrates the concept of regulatory capture, a defining concept in the 1971 theory of economic regulation by George Stigler, who subsequently won the Nobel Prize in economics. Stigler challenged the idea that regulation is conducted to protect the public, but rather to serve the industry. He noted how the SEC garnered the authority to limit selling expenses of mutual funds, thus limiting the growth of small mutual funds and hence reducing the sales costs of large funds. Building on Stigler, my own research of controversial net neutrality internet regulation across 50 countries over the last decade shows a similar trend of established firms, US tech platforms, pressing for regulation to prevent market entry. While such open internet rules are proffered to ensure the next Google, they do the opposite by imposing a set of price and traffic controls that limit the ability of internet services and applications to compete and differentiate. Regulation should only be adopted with targeted, limited aims for truly hard problems. Indeed, the crypto industry has consistently asked Congress to develop the needed legislation to clarify the roles of U.S. regulators. Presently, at least 8 agencies assert jurisdiction over crypto assets. So that's the piece. Golf clap for Dr. Layton, everybody. Why? So now that you've heard the whole thing, why would Forbes take that down? Look, if there's some sort of innocuous reason, fine, I'll talk about it in a future video, maybe. But it's at the same time that this intervention is filed. Like, what could possibly be the purpose? There's nothing wrong with this article. It's a great article. Like, every single thing she's written has been a fantastic article on this topic. She takes a fair and measured approach, and she came to understand all the specifics of the SEC v. Ripple case with a blank slate in terms of personal bias. Blank slate, because she doesn't have a dog in the fight personally. She doesn't own XRP. She doesn't own any of Ripple, the company. She doesn't own the private stock. So now she's seeking to intervene in the case. Perhaps those things are related here, but man, I hope that she says something about it, because I checked before recording, and at least to this point, Rosalind Layton, I just checked her Twitter profile, nothing from her on this, just crickets. So hopefully it gets addressed at some point. Hopefully it actually just becomes live again. But that's what Forbes doesn't want you to see. And, great article. And also a lot of the key points were actually covered in the legal filing to Judge Torres, which I reviewed yesterday. It wasn't a complete repeat. There's new information there, new perspective in this. But some of the key things I noticed were very samey, which makes sense. The arguments stand whether you're writing it to Judge Torres or for Forbes article. So why are XRP holders being treated differently than ETH holders? Well, that's what we've been talking about for over 2 years now. So it is what it is, folks. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say, all right? That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the Moon Family Sedan.